Hello little brothers and sisters, Dennis is with you as always. Finally, adequate projects have shown their noses in recent days. Not that there's a straight AAA, but very interesting projects. I have collected the best of them for you in this video, so you can definitely find something to drive for a couple of evenings. Click on like, click on subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Well, actually, let's go! Here is a real gift for fans of military history and real-time strategies. Headquartes, World War II, you will plunge into the atmosphere of the Second World War and feel like a general who manages troops and builds bases. Here we have Normandy and 3-story companies. We choose who we will fight for in this game and which way to fight. The developers provided the game with top-end graphonium, threw out various bugs, freezes, and other release surprises, and from a funny point of view, unlike most strategies we have on the battlefield, there are different skills for both the troops and Us as a commander. There are smoke screens and so on. The main difference from other war games is tactics in its purest form, an unobtrusive interface where you do not need to look out with a magnifying glass at thousands of unit characteristics, although there are no fewer of them than in other war games. But everything is intuitive. The gameplay is beyond praise. For the first time, infantry is not just cannon fodder, but a full-fledged combat unit. From an ambush and the right direction, infantry can destroy a tank if they throw an anti-tank grenade into the tank head-on. The tank will hold up, but if you sneak up from behind or from the side, it turns into a tin can with one hit point. In general, it's not bad. Finally, Project Zomboid has not become the only game where you fight off crowds of zombies in some city. Here is the infection-free zone. But not only that, there is one key feature here. You can survive in absolutely any city on the planet. Enter the name of the city, download the map, and play. OpenStreetMap data allows you to select any location in the world for the database. The only thing is, there is a limitation. You can run in an area of about 2 square kilometers, which unfortunately does not realize the potential inherent in the generation mechanism created by the developers. The map is at least 2 times larger in width, and you can already play on a huge area of the city. We run a small squad. They fight on their own, but fortifications, defenses, and movements are all done by us. In general, the game, although not completely finished, still needs to be fixed, but the potential and idea are just great. Surviving in your own home in the game is a childhood dream. The good old Planet Crafter has been released. A survival simulator on a lifeless planet with terraforming, crafting, and an open world in co-op for up to 10 people. This is the case when a team of 2.5 people with a budget in a case of beer makes a game that is more interesting to play than many modern Bretitskordoye projects. The game itself is very meditative, but globally the whole point boils down to dealing with the endless construction and improvement of dozens and hundreds of similar buildings to accumulate pressure on the planet, oxygen, heat, and biomass. But the game is very skillfully addictive, especially now that the developers have released the game in the release version, adding another lot of different content. It's easy to spend 60-70 hours here, but only if you have enough time to roll in it. We are all used to PC games being ported to mobile phones. We get high going through them there, knowing that the project is worthwhile. But when mobile phones are ported to a PC, it almost always means that they want to cash in on you, and the game is another donation dump. But not this game. This is the kindest and most fun game on mobile phones in principle, which has just reached the PC, a friendly MMO from the creators of Journey. I won't tell you about the plot, the story, and so on. Your main task here is to create your own character and find all the winged light and spirits, thanks to which you can open access to new lands. But I really want to note the simple and uncomplicated beauty of the locations and pleasant interaction with people. I would say that the whole highlight of the game is the multiplayer. This is the very reason why people don't leave the game after passing, thanks to other people and their candles left somewhere along the way. You can hear something pleasant, listen to their music, hear advice, or even discover some places that you didn't notice before. In general, if you want cuteness and peace, you are here. And if you want something tougher, for example, to put a shotgun in someone's face, you can go to the new Buckshot Roulette. We start the game in a nightclub, we meet the dealer, a character from the cover of the game, we sign a contract and sit down to play with the dealer. Our lives are at stake. In the center of the table is a shotgun, the number of rounds in which determines the duration of the round. The cartridges can be live or blank, and their ratio changes in each round. The goal of the game is to kill the dealer without losing all lives. Their number is displayed on the scoreboard is to the right of the table. One shot takes one life. In general, it's almost like a typical Russian roulette, but sometimes you have to grab a beer or smoke a cigarette. Not in the real sense. There are some items in the game that dilute the gameplay very much. If you ring can of beer, you can discharge one cartridge while not transmitting the opponent's move, and cigarettes suddenly restore one life. Generally speaking, smoking is bad. Smoking kills, and in general, you then wallow all covered in blood, and generally look bad, and then the cleaners come. Yes, it is the cleaners, as in this game. This is Crime Scene Cleaner, Prologue, where you play as this corpse cleaner. Just like in the first John Wick, there were guys who came and cleaned John's apartment so that there would be no traces left. Or in the new series Gentlemen, they were there too. In short, you are exactly the same crime cleaner. Remove the bodies and destroy the evidence while staying off the police radar. Get to know each other with the main character in the introduction to his fight against crime scene cleaning. Only Prologue was released. It's small but extremely funny, plus it's free. In general, I recommend it. It is very well done. There is a replenishment in MOBA shooters. This action is called Gigantic Rampage Edition, and this is the case when the game comes out of stasis and is revived. In this case, the game has been trying for 7 years to remember who they are and what she is. Something in between Smite and Overwatch, the skating rinks are short-lived, there is no problem with the purchase of items, and the swing of the heroes allows you to build them in completely different directions. Well, for example, to make supports with tanks or damager, and initially, the damagers should be converted to healers. Not bad. In terms of pace, tempo of the game is high, and the fights on the maps are quite common. In general, it's not bad. Oh, and this is the legend that's coming out today. The same Arachnophobia, Part 2. Your quest is still to unwind the hairy spiders. But now, the game has moved on. She brought PvP mode. Spider hunting, where you can ride for the spiders themselves. But initially, the main task is to destroy the 8-legged. Use the latest multiverse technology and various upgrades to hunt down the spiders and bring down your fire on them. Or acid rain, or the most powerful explosives, or drones, or lasers, or just heavy ones items. To be honest, everything works well against them, and what will suffer in the background is not so important. At least blow up the whole universe. You can arrange that. And now I'm going to show you some really cool games that are coming out right now, either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Well, you get it. Waiting is the minimum. The first of them is the Mildew Children. It's a mix of a two-dimensional adventure and a visual novel. This is a dark story about a village inhabited only by children who follow wild primitive traditions. This game has a wonderful and most importantly free prologue with one chapter, where you can normally immerse yourself in the plot before the release of the full version. Plot-wise, we have to accompany Kurfel, a young local witch, on their fateful adventure. You will find a dozen unique characters, hundreds of different portraits, with pens drawn with a mountain of emotions, 12 full-fledged chapters, 8 hours of intense plot, and multiple variations of dialogues. God only knows what this primitive story will lead to. Her prologue is gorgeous. And this is a new, extremely creepy psychological horror where you are a streamer. You're running around an abandoned psychiatric hospital while your hard workers are scribbling comments to you live. The idea is a bomb. Add here the ultra-realistic graphon that the developers were happy to provide the game with, and the business plan for building a brick factory will be successful. There are no other details on the game before the release, but also on how it is played, but it looks very solid. but we know how Age of Water is played. That's because she also had a prologue a month ago, where we were introduced to this crossout in the world of boats. The game is really much more than a crossout, and the possibilities have been shoved into it. Here, you will find a thorough construction of boats, from small boats to huge vessels, and the construction of a base to process resources and trade, and the world is completely open. And most importantly, the PvP SIA. Well, in the sense that you can make a cut on the ships right on the high seas, and chop off various resources of other players. Plus, the game is very she is beautiful, and to feel like a sea wolf here, it is enough to open your eyes stupidly. The prologue is absolutely great. I am looking forward to playing the full game. Oh, and this is just beautiful, and guess who? From the developers of the Ori. This time the gentleman decided to slightly move away from 2D platformers towards a dynamic role-playing game, which they decided to show the world what it can do. This is finally a Dark Souls storyline, in which the plot is no less than a verified action movie. An adult, dark story awaits us, with treacherous rulers, rebels, and an ancient plague of monsters that is spreading all over the world. Well, the graphics, this is a damn whole picture that is constantly in motion. Piece and locations are very picturesque, and you can feel the atmosphere even from the trailers, plus the cooperative. So there are also 4 people where you can co-op in groups. In short, I'm looking forward to it. Well, for those who suddenly don't know, although any racing fan probably knows, the same motorcycle festival from Ubisoft in Hawaii, you will also find co-op, PvP races, good graphics, and a lot of customization of wheelbarrows, including visual customization. It will be possible to drive not only on sports cars, but also on various buggies and even SUVs. Everything with 4 wheels is listed here, except for the supermarket cart maybe. Well, as it is, racing is like racing. If you like it, you can take a look. That's all for today. I hope you found something suitable for yourself, and therefore clicked like and subscribe too. Well, Deni was with you as always. Wish all the best.